Hey there, toy collector friends and Star Trek fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Time Travelling Toy Collector, and this is the Star Trek Discovery official Starships collection from Hero Collector and Eagle Moss, previously unreleased USS Jubayr, or Jubayr, not sure on the pronunciation, I think it's the Jubayr, NCC 325080. And it's another of the 32nd century ships as they appeared in Discovery once we hop into the future. Now, again, as I just mentioned there, this is one of those previously unreleased ships that's been found and has been brought to retail by Master Replicas. So a huge shout out to Master Replicas. They're doing some sterling work in getting that old Eagle Moss stock out into the public domain. If you're not following them on Twitter and getting their alerts, I do advise you to do so. They are getting access to a lot of the ships that, if you are looking at the secondary market because you don't think you're going to get your stuff for your collection, they are getting most of it. I've had a lot of success with Master Replicas recently with a couple of ships that I thought I would never see across a couple of ranges, and they're now in my possession for a future review, and well, they're in my collection and I'm loving having them. So Master Replicas, it's a thumbs up from me. Their customer service is great. They also just recently gave a voucher to anyone that purchased off them in the first 3 months of them trading these products, which was a really nice gesture. They didn't have to do it. I think they've had a bit of grief online from people who've been, for whatever reason, less than satisfied. But to be honest, I'm very satisfied, and they're also taking a lot of measures to reduce the number of people who are picking up individual items. And personally, I think they're my experience. Others will have, their own experience. My personal experience is all I can speak from, and in my experience, Master Replicas have done a sterling job in terms of customer service, speed of delivery, etc., etc. Bang on. If you've had a bad experience with them, I'm sorry to hear that. But again, when I've contacted them about various things, it's been a very swift response. So it's a thumbs up for me shopping with Master Replicas. I'm not a subsidiary. I don't get any commission for saying that. I just think it's true. And, these are challenging times anyway to be spending money. And Master Replicas are keeping their prices as close to the original retail as I presume they can affordably do as a viable business. So anyway, on to the matter at hand. And again, this is one of those unreleased ships that was produced. They're in stock, they're in storage containers, and Master Replica have brought them to the marketplace. Very quickly, just because I have it, I can show you the box it comes in. USS Discovery, there is the ship on the front with the name and the registration. Over here we've got the nice range of Discovery Starships that we've seen before. Hero Collector and Eagle Moss on the side. The rest of the box is pretty much as you expect from Hero Collector and Eagle Moss. There's not too much on there other than some of the blurb and the copyright material, which brings us squarely to this frankly beautiful design of a starship. It's a Courage class starship. I had to do some online research about that because, alas, due to the nature of the product, there was no magazine with it to give some background information, which is a shame, but we know that's the circumstances. Not all the magazines were printed and produced, and the unreleased ships definitely didn't have any. So I'm going to sort of bring it in a little more and then take you on a bit of a tour, but I just want to sort of really focus in on some of this deco here. I mean, the way this is designed, it's the almost scaffolding of it is just something else. Again, looking at the design of it, there's no obvious. I'll show you this. I'll just whiz around, because initially, showing my ignorance, I felt this might be the front, and it flew this way. I need to go back and watch Discovery to absolutely double check this, because it sort of feels like it does that, yeah. And we have the registry on the front here, so I thought, that would make sense. But then looking at some of the other looking at the primary photos on the box itself, it seems to suggest that this is the front. And again, unhelpfully, when you're trying to figure that out, it does have the registry here. So this might be the front. So please leave in the comments whether, just so that I know, because it's embarrassingly hilarious from my point of view, whether I'm inclined to think it is now this. So if you think it's this end, A, then let me know in the comments that you think it's A. If you think it's B, which is going to be this end, then please leave that in the comments as well. There's no prize because I'm going to go with the majority, but I will go back and watch it and see if there's any clues. But I'm aware that some of these ships had very limited screen time, so it may not even be that obvious from seeing them moored in space dock where they're in hiding when we first see them. But do you know what? It almost doesn't matter, because the quality of the detail, in terms of looking at the model, because the quality of the detailing is going to speak for itself. It isn't over painted. It isn't over painted, in my opinion. And I think this is something that they've learnt, unfortunately too late, over time, because it also takes off some of that pressure of getting some of the accuracy of the placement. Now, we are still seeing, you can see it here, I mean, I'll get it in hand in a second. You can see it around the front, along the sides, around here. There's some around here. There is lighting detail for some of the ship's windows, but of course, because it's so small in the model, it's very hard to tell from a reasonable distance, and we will go close in a moment as usual, but from a reasonable distance it's really hard to tell whether or not they've missed the spots on there or not. And in some of the areas there are no indentations, so again, where the windows fall, the windows fall. So technically, there's no discussion around, well, they've missed, they're off, they're misaligned. Well, there's nothing to align to. They've been put on, they've been added. So that's either a nifty strategy or a bit of a failing on their part, or a last minute change of plan. Who knows? This design wise, again, I can't talk too much to the design because there's no notes or accessible to me through a magazine, but I think it has such a lovely flow to it. It has such a lovely architectural configuration, for want of a better phrase. And also, I have to say this, I don't normally say this, as many of you will know, but I love the stand for this. It's a very well considered stand, if you can see that. So I'll just lift it out. It sort of swoops under there and holds there beautifully. So it's a very well engineered transparent stand, which we'll just pop there out of the way for a minute whilst we get this under the lights. And I think this, just look at, let me see if I can really get you a bit closer on this one, because I think it warrants it. Look at the structure and the architecture of the design here. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And you've got this sort of nice ridged, you almost feel like you're looking at some sort of beautiful architectural build, sort of somewhere in some highly cultured European culture. I don't even know what words I'm using, because it just there's something almost breathtaking about the design that does scream a combination of ancient Earth and and the future. It's a very futuristic design, especially if you you can, hopefully you can see why I was a bit sort of, is this the front? Is this the front? Because it's so impossible to perhaps gauge unless you absolutely know the specifics of the ship. So here we have, let me just try and see if you can see there. So we have the front registry, and we have that detailing. There's a bit of Aztecing on the top there that goes into that upper fin area there that folds around. You've got it's layered, so it's like there's an element of it being like a shell. I mean, there's just so much to this. And then we have this section which sort of feels like it's overlaid on top of the other elements there. You can just see how much design concept has gone into this. And even down the bottom we've got, you know, the registration there. I don't know if you can see it because it's so small, but you've got the registration there and the Starfleet insignia along the bottom of it there. I'll tell you what it reminds me of a little bit. It reminds me, and of course I know it's not anything like this, as I just keep turning around so you can get a really good look at the detailing, hopefully. But I think what I'm thinking it reminds me of is, and apologies if you're not a fan of this franchise, but Bespin Cloud City from The Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. I know it's obviously nothing really like it, but there's just something about it that it just wouldn't be amiss as part of that sort of sky Cloud City mining colony, you know. But yeah, so we can turn it around a bit more. You can see all the lighting on there, that underside area. There's not an awful lot of unnecessary surface detailing at all. So you see we've got the registration in various places around the ship, but ultimately it's very sleek and unfussy. Yes, it has some complex design elements, which I am, again, as I think I've made quite clear, I absolutely adore. But those complex design elements do not compromise the ship, and they do not compromise the beauty of the model as we have it here in hand. So I'm just trying to get a nice position to sort of hold this in as we move towards the end of the video. So it's a curious little ship. It's as I said, it's a Courage class ship, the USS Jubayr, I believe it's pronounced. Obviously not sure, but you know, if you know how to pronounce it phonetically, by all means pop that into the comments as well as telling me whether you think A or B is the main bridge or the front of the ship. I don't know very much about its function within Starfleet. Again, I looked at a couple of Trek websites to see if I could glean anything from them, and I absolutely could not, which was a bit of a disappointment on my part. But I think it's a really lovely ship, and I'm really glad that Master Replicas have been able to get this into the public domain, whichever way round it goes, because I think it's just so indicative of those revelations from season 3 of Discovery, and I think it really captures that sort of future essence of the Federation's and Starfleet's vessels. I'm also kind of pleased it doesn't have any of those sort of programmable matter add-ons that sort of stick out on plastic bits here and there, because I'm not convinced they really work. I mean, they've done the best they can with the brief, I think, but I don't know it necessarily really works. So I think the fact this doesn't have that has helped make the simplicity and the flow of the design even more effective, because you're not then having to go, oh, and the nacelles sort of clip on and float around over here and all that sort of stuff. So I really like it. So if you've not seen this yet, or you've not had a chance to pick it up, do try Master Replicas if you're here in the UK. I think they're shipping internationally, so you might want to try that, your hand there. I don't know what the stock is like, because obviously why would I, but it's retailing at a decent price at the moment. Here we are in July 2023. Goodness knows what will happen when it does eventually start to emerge on the secondary markets. I imagine it will probably be quite costly, given its stature as a previously unreleased starship in this range. I don't know how many other unreleased ships have been made and are yet to be revealed. I think Master Replicas did say that they'd be doing some major announcements in the near future about the future of some of these ranges. I don't know what, if anything, to read into that, but my fingers are firmly crossed. It's very positive news for those of us who want to continue collecting ships in these ranges and possibly other ranges as well. I certainly know they've had a lot of success with the range, because it's a lot of the stuff, they put it on in batches to sort of manage the flow, and they sell out really quickly. So, you know, they're having a very successful time of it, and I'm pleased for them. They've got another drop coming up imminently, and there's one ship in particular that I'm saving my voucher for. I'm not going to say what it is in case I don't get it, because I'll be gutted. I've missed out on it twice now, I will say that. So my mission, when the next drop goes live, is to just go on, get it, and pay for it and get off, and not look around the store. I would give you that piece of advice if you want to go and shop on Master Replicas. If there's a ship that you want, and you really, really want it, and you think other people are going to want it, just go on the site, find it, basket it, and buy it. You can go back and start perusing the rest of it as much as you like. But once it's in your basket, it isn't securely yours until your payment has gone through. That's a very important thing to hold on to in your head. Putting it in your basket has not, you don't get 30 minutes grace with it in your basket. If someone else buys it, they've bought it, and they only have a set number. So until you've bought it, if it's in your basket, it's not yours. Pay for it, then it's coming. Then you can go back and have more of a perusal. Trust me on that. It's bitten me twice. And the first time I didn't realise that was what they were doing. The second time I did, but it took a while for my banking app to send me the code that they required as dual authentication. And by the time they sent it through, it had gone out of my basket and it had sold out. So I'm very ready tomorrow or whenever the next drop is, to capture the ship that I am very keen to get in hand. Anyway, perhaps this has encouraged you to pursue the USS Jubayr from Master Replica or other online retailers that may have access to it. I'm not aware of any, but you may find some. Or perhaps you're going, actually having seen it, it's a bit of an easy pass for me. I will say, you know, there's not a sense of a lot of die cast in there. It's very much sort of the plastic and the resin that we're accustomed to. It's fragile. I wouldn't consider it suitable for robust play. It is a display model. Most definitely, all of those caveats I will add it to this ship for those who are unfamiliar with those elements of this. But it does, for me, make a really worthy addition to the collection and absolutely warrants a space on my shelf. Whether it does for you, only you can decide the answer for that. But if this video has helped you decide that, then do please like the video. And whilst you're doing that, please subscribe to the video if you're not already. And if you are already, thank you very, very much. But if you're not already, please do subscribe. It's a tiny click for you and a massive, massive helping hand for me and the channel. So I really, really appreciate it. Also, it'll mean if you turn on notifications that you never miss a future video, which could be more Star Trek, and probably will be. Equally, there'll be more Transformers, more Doctor Who, more G.I. Joe, definitely more Star Trek. There could be Marvel. There could be any number of things coming your way in the very near future. Anyway, thanks for spending the last 20 minutes or so with me. I've been the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You have been a fantastic audience. This has been the Star Trek Discovery Official Starships collection from Hero Collector and Eagle Moss, as was the USS Jubayr NCC 325080. And if you liked it, like the video. If you didn't like it, like the video anyway. You know, what are you going to lose? What are you going to lose? I'm joking. Thanks very much for sticking with it. I hope to see you in a future video. And until then, please remember that a thing of beauty, which I think this really, really, really is, truly is a joy forever. Bye-bye for now.